Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so I know that I did a search of this very topic before I kind of settled on sharing my experience with it. So I know there's tons of videos like this already. I'm just going to share sort of my personal convictions and just what my family does regarding this. So as a Christian, we know that Christmas. I mean, not even as a Christian, I think Christmas is a big deal for a lot of people, whether you're a believer or non-believer. People sort of like do Christmas up, right? So since I've had kids, I just almost like, I call it like a roller coaster. It's been like a ride and a half where we go from sort of, okay, well, do we do Santa? Like, do we do this? Like, what about this? And okay, do we do, gifts for them? Do we do gifts for the family? Like, it's been an evolution basically for the past since we've had kids, which is our oldest daughter is 10 now. So it has gone up and down. And we've, and just even our own selves, right? So my husband and I both have, our own sort of background that we came from and how we, let's say, did Christmas. And so when you get married, it's basically like a merger, right? You get together and it's like, oh, well, this is my experiences. This is yours. And then you have a child. It's like, okay, well, what are we doing together now? And we weren't really intentional about it before we had kids. But it just sort of is something that seemed like every year, for myself, every year it was more about convictions that I was having. So I'm going to leave some links below to other YouTubers, Christian YouTubers who share their experiences. And I think they have insight and wisdom. There's some things that I would say, I maybe don't agree with, or I do things differently, let's say. But there is a lot of information out there regarding this. If it's something that interests you, or let's say this is something that's been on your heart, but you haven't really quite dove into why that's on your heart. So I'm just going to read a passage from scripture where I think this relates to what I'm going to try to convey here. Okay, so I'm going to read from Romans 14:5-6. So one person esteems one day as better than another, while another esteems all days alike. Each one should be fully convinced in his own mind. The one who observes a day observes it in honor of the Lord. The one who eats in honor of the Lord, since he gives thanks to God, while the one who abstains in honor of the Lord and gives thanks to God. For if we live to the Lord, and if we die to the Lord. So then, whether we live or whether we die, we are the Lord's. So Romans 14:5-6, and also 8 in there. So I like the Amplified just because it breaks down. So one person regards one day as better, and then it says as more important than another, while another regards every day the same as another. Let everyone be fully convinced. And then it says, assured and satisfied in his own mind. So that's the main point that I want to make, is that it's not really about how everyone else is doing it. You see the traditions of lots of different things like Christmas trees and giving presents and, going to do Santa, or do you do Santa in your house? All those different things, right? We never want to be people who are just doing things because that's what we do. That's what the culture says we do, right? We're supposed to be set apart, but not set apart just to be weird. Like, oh, I want to make a statement or something like that. We need to be fully convinced, assured and satisfied. So that's where my struggles started, basically. I would see my kids like ripping through gifts like tornadoes, just like from one to the next. And it's like, aren't you thankful? Like, don't you like that gift? Like, I spent so much time and money trying to get that for you. And it was sort of like, they're more interested in, like they say, the box than the actual gift that you got them and everything. Or let's say, just a buildup even of it. Like as a kid, I remember, like, cause I was born in Fiji, so I was not born here. So when I came to Canada, a Christmas tree was a thing I had never seen before. And, my parents like followed the normal traditions of that. And we had a Christmas tree. We had all these gifts. And I remember even as a child, like I would have been, 8, 9, 10 years old or whatever. And you'd have all this hype of Christmas. And I always remember feeling so empty, so unsatisfied after, even though, I had a Christmas list and Santa came and gave me all these things or whatever. I remember feeling so empty afterwards, as if, oh, like that's it, like all this buildup and this is it kind of thing. So I didn't realize that, but I think it was maybe God convicting me from a young age of that, what's really important to you? What's it going to look like? And so as I sat down with my husband, tried to evaluate those things together, we weren't really on the same page at times, or he was like, well, I grew up doing Santa. Like, it's not a big deal. I'm like, yeah, so did I. But I'm like, we're lying to our kids. Like, why would we lie to our kids? We teach them not to lie. So why are we now lying to them about this guy who came and dropped off these gifts when obviously it was us? Spoiler alert for anyone who still believes in Santa out there. But that why are we doing those things? So we have to go by our own convictions. It's not about what everyone else is doing. So the passage where it says, for we live. For if we live, we live for the Lord. And if we die to the Lord. So then whether we live or whether we die, we are the Lord's. And I think that is something that's so key that we have to remember. Is so crucial in our faith, that whatever we're doing, like, are we doing in honor of him? I'm not opposed to people having, things that I don't, maybe we don't do, right? But are our motives right in it? Like, are we just putting up a tree because that's what everyone does and that's what you do when, you at this time of year? So I'm just going to list a few things that we don't do. And these are just our things, right? And I didn't want to share these because initially I was like, I don't want to come across like, oh, this is what we don't do and neither should you. It's not like that at all. This is just me being transparent with you. And I don't know if it will help you or encourage you in anything. I'm not sure what will be the result, but I want to share this with you. So what we don't do, we don't do a Christmas tree any longer. We don't do presents for our kids. We do I'll do a December 1st and a January 1st gift, like something small, like a book or pajamas or whatever. So they have something to look forward to, and they're not a bunch of weirdos at school who, like the Grinch got them nothing, or, whatever the case is, right? And so we try to keep it simple. Like, we do baking, and we'll hand out things to all of our neighbors, like depending on, basically as many neighbors as we can. We'll bake beforehand, and we'll give them cards and gifts. Like, not gifts, but bakings. There's something in our city where there's like a certain street where there's like a lot of lights and things like that. So every year we've always gone and checked out these lights, and the kids will unbuckle them. And so that it's because we're going 5 kilometers an hour. So they'll be unbuckled and they're able to get out and look at all the lights, because we're not about that walking life. We're not going to get out and walk, but we just enjoy looking at the lights, and they like being able to not be in their car seats and stuff. And something I'm going to attach in the videos, one of the gentlemen, he was sharing about his family's tradition was where they intentionally try to give back. So he shares in there that, they do some sort of charity either on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I really like the idea of that. But I remember contacting a nonprofit organization before, and they were like, at Christmas time, we have tons of people who offer to volunteer, but it's January to November that we don't have a lot of people who are wanting to volunteer. So I think I'll try to make it more intentional that it'll be something we do in the new year, to be able to volunteer with our kids. So yeah, just the simple things. And, our kids are not traumatized. Like, I ask them about certain things, and, it's important to us that they know, what we're doing. Also, something else I want to do this year is on Christmas Day, I want to sing some hymns, not hymns, probably just our favorite Christmas songs. I think we'll do a time of worship together. And also we usually read the Christmas story, that's pretty classic, and not a boring way where it's okay, here we go. Because my husband used to share that they used to do it where they would share the story, and it was and then they would get to open a present. And then he was like, okay, let's just get through the story so I can get to the present. For us, Jesus is the present. So, just being able to share that story with our kids and just sort of read it from the actual Bible, not just their kids' Bible. And we'll read it, as a family with the little storybook ones too, which is totally fine. But yeah, there's lots of things that we do. And so I just want you to reflect on, why you do the things that you do. For some people, maybe it's a thing I do Christmas big because it's an opportunity to invite non-believers to my house, and we share the good news, and we share why we celebrate Christmas. And that's amazing, right? Or there's lots of people who are lonely in the church. And so it's I, want to do a tree and do all these things so that I can invite people, from my church and give back to people who might be lonely. That's awesome. So just, I basically just wanting to encourage you to just think about the traditions that you have, whether you're married or single or a couple or a family, and why do you have those traditions? So yeah, that's all I want to leave you with. And also I want to say that I know that like the point of this channel is not to try to get subscribers. That's why I never say anything like that. I don't have like the normal plug at the end. But honestly, it makes me smile when you guys do leave comments, and it does make me smile when I get a subscriber too. So no pressure, but if you want to, you can totally do that. So don't forget that God loves you. Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope that you have an amazing time, however you spend it, with your family and just honoring God. Bye.